The night was quiet, except for the sound of crickets echoing through the empty fields. The moonlight shimmered faintly over the small village of Norabad, where silence often carried stories untold. But that night, a soft, trembling voice broke through the darkness, the voice of a little girl standing alone near an old, forgotten well. "Mom, I brought you food already. Please eat something," she whispered, placing a small tiffin box beside the moss-covered edge. Her hands were tiny, trembling, and her clothes worn thin against the cold wind. She waited, eyes fixed on the dark circle of the well as if expecting a reply from within. But only silence answered. The little girl's name was Amina, just 8 years old, fragile, innocent, and far too familiar with hunger. Her eyes carried both hope and heartbreak, the kind only a child forced to grow up too soon could carry. The beginning of her pain. Amina lived with her sick grandmother in a mud house at the edge of the village. Her mother, Zainab, had disappeared months ago. The villagers whispered different stories. Some said she ran away. Others believed she fell into the old well one stormy night and never came back. But Amina refused to believe her mother was gone. "She talks to me at night," Amina often told her grandmother, "from the well. She says she's hungry and wants me to bring her food." The grandmother would cry silently, unable to break the child's innocent illusion. She was too weak to work, and Amina would go from house to house every morning, begging for scraps of food. Some days she'd get a piece of bread, other days only a handful of rice. But whatever she found, she'd first take to the well. Every evening she'd knock gently on the well's rim, whispering, "Mom, I brought your dinner," and then leave the food there before eating her share. The stranger in the black car. One morning, a black luxury car rolled into the village, the kind of car no one had ever seen there before. It belonged to Mr. Armin Malik, a 40-year-old millionaire known for his cold heart and sharper tongue. He was on his way to inspect a piece of land his company planned to buy, land that included the same old well and surrounding fields. As he stepped out of the car, he noticed the little girl kneeling by the well, placing something beside it. Curious, he called out, "Hey, what are you doing there?" Startled, Amina turned around. "I'm feeding my mother," she said simply, clutching the empty tiffin box. Armin frowned. "Feeding your mother, where is she?" Amina pointed at the well, her small finger trembling. "Inside. She talks to me sometimes. She says she's hungry." The millionaire's brows furrowed. He looked around, a broken rope, an old bucket, and the stench of decay rising faintly from below. He shook his head, assuming the girl was delusional. "Go home, child. No one lives in a well." But Amina's eyes filled with tears. "She does. She never left me. I hear her every night." Something in her voice, the raw innocence, the desperate belief, pierced through Armin's cold exterior for a brief moment. He turned away, shaking off the feeling, and ordered his men to begin clearing the land the next morning. The discovery. That night heavy rain poured down and thunder rolled across the skis. Armin stayed in the car, watching lightning flash over the field. In one brief flash he saw her, that same little girl, running barefoot toward the well, clutching something in her hands. He jumped out and ran after her, shouting, "What are you doing here, kid? It's dangerous." But she didn't stop. She reached the well and started knocking again, shouting over the storm, "Mom, I brought your food already. Please don't be cold tonight." Armin's men caught up and pulled her away. She cried, struggling in their arms, screaming, "Let me go, she'll be hungry." Something inside Armin snapped. He ordered his men to bring ropes and lights. "If she says someone's there, we'll find out right now." They lowered a flashlight into the darkness of the well. The light revealed something, fabric, bones, and a rusted locket tangled in old rope. Everyone froze. It was a woman's remains. Amina screamed, "That's my mom, that's her scarf." Truth comes to light. Police were called. After hours of investigation, the truth slowly emerged. Months ago, during a heavy storm, Amina's mother, Zainab, had gone to fetch water from the well. The rope snapped and she fell in. No one heard her cries. By the time the storm ended, the village thought she had left forever. Amina's nightly conversations were just her imagination, the desperate mind of a child who refused to accept the truth. But her love had kept her mother's memory alive, leading, finally, to the truth being uncovered. The millionaire's transformation. Armin Malik stood quietly by the well long after the police left. The rain had stopped, but something inside him had broken open. He looked at Amina, small, shivering, clinging to her grandmother, and for the first time in years he felt pain that wasn't his own. He later learned that Amina's grandmother was ill, and they had no family, no food, no roof strong enough to survive another storm. Without saying much, Armin bought the land, but instead of demolishing it, he built a small shelter there in Zainab's memory. He made sure Amina went to school and her grandmother received proper care. The well was rebuilt and fenced, with a plaque that read, "A mother's love never dies, Zainab's well." Whenever people passed by, they'd see flowers and food left by strangers, inspired by the story of a little girl's pure love. Armin visited often, bringing toys or sweets for Amina. He never forgot the look on her face that night, the look that taught him that money can build houses, but only love can build hearts. Years later. Years passed. Amina grew into a bright, kind-hearted young woman. She built an orphanage near the same field, funded by Armin Malik, who had become a father figure to her. Every evening she'd still place a flower by the well and whisper, "I brought you food already, Mom. But now I feed others too." Tears filled Armin's eyes every time he heard those words, because he knew, somewhere, Zainab was smiling. Message for the audience. This story reminds us that a mother's love never fades, not even through time or death. It also reminds us that sometimes, a single act of kindness can change more than one life. It can save a soul. Broken heart, if this story touched your heart, please comment below what part made you emotional. Your thoughts mean a lot.